And the ABS works, by the way. I think my heart started beating again.
All right, so let's talk about the conditions first, because this is the most obvious thing and not can play into, things like this happening. And it's raining, and I'm going to play this little short clip. This is after all of that happened, and it started raining even harder. So this was basically like, as soon as I got on the road, it started raining. And, you know, if you look at my speed, I always keep my speed. Let's go back up here. I'm keeping my speed 45, 50 miles an hour pretty much the whole time. And should I have slowed down? Maybe. I wasn't doing an excessive speed, but I also wasn't like, slowing way down. I think I was keeping a pretty reasonable speed for the conditions. Most of the stuff had already washed off the road by this time, so I wasn't worried about slick, oil or anything like that. One consideration maybe I should have taken is the fact that these are new tires. This is a new bike, and you gotta remember, when I went to go review this, by the way, big thanks to American Biker, they called me up, said, "Hey man, we got one on the way. It's not sold yet. Do you want to review it?" So I literally came here on my lunch break. And this is the second thing I want to talk about is rushing. So I have this internal clock going like, hey, I got to get there, ride the bike, get pictures, get video, review it all in 1 hour. And this place is about 25 minutes from my job. So I knew I was going to be in a time crunch. I knew it was going to run over a little bit late. It, kind of is what it is there. But I start to rush. And this is something, man, if I'm ever in a rush in the morning and I'm running late, I'm not riding the bike, because I know how I personally get. I start to get a little antsy, and, things like this can happen. So, one of the biggest rules I follow, man, is no rushing on the motorcycle. And this is something that I did do this day, is I was rushing, but you don't see that in my speed. You don't see that reflect here, because one thing I don't want to do, obviously, is wreck a brand new motorcycle. I'm working with these guys. I have a good relationship. I don't want to wreck my own, and I don't want to wreck theirs. I am always respectful of their bikes. And he knew, that it was going to be raining or whatever. We didn't know it was going to be like this, or I didn't know it was going to be like this. And obviously, I didn't know circumstances that would play out here later. But the weather, a little bit of an impact. I don't think as much. Me rushing a little bit had a little bit more. So you see this kind of snowballs a little bit into the next thing I'm going to show you. And that's where this car right here, they passed me up. I'm doing 49 miles an hour, let's just say. They're doing at least 60. So if we just play this back, you can see how fast they're going. If I was doing that speed, the speed limit here is 45, by the way. If I was doing this speed, then I would say, yeah, I'm being kind of reckless for the conditions. I wasn't. And the worst part about this is they actually speed around me just to make a turn. So, impatient driving, that's something that drives me nuts. Right here, I start talking about, first of all, how I feel about this driver. And most of that I actually kept in my head, because I realized, hey, I'm doing a review here. But you could just imagine what I was saying. I don't like this. I don't like this kind of stuff. I think it's irresponsible. And I don't like drivers like that. But regardless, I was talking about passing lamps. And passing lamps is something, dude, I swear, when I had my Street Glide Special, before I put passing lamps on it, I felt like it was just like a Sportster or something. After I put passing lamps on it, I bet you I cut down people turning out in front of me, left out in front of me, turning out in front of me, pulling out in front of me. Probably cut that down by 80%. And that's one thing I talk about a lot here is lighting, man. I work with Custom Dynamics. They're awesome. And lighting is the most important upgrade you can put on any motorcycle, in my opinion. Because even before people hear you, I think they're gonna see you. I think even before they hear you. That's not always the case, but generally speaking, when people are pulling out in front of you, they're making a left-hand turn or, whatever, they're not seeing us, right? It's not so much the sound. The sound works good if somebody's next to you and they start coming over in your lane and you can kind of rev bomb them, So I'm not saying pipes aren't important, but being seen, I think, is way more important. And so any kind of lighting that you can do to upgrade your motorcycle is a great thing. That's why I harp on some of these manufacturers. All of them do it, really. they'll put a halogen bulb on a 2022 motorcycle. I hate that, dude. I hate that. LEDs should be standard on all motorcycles, and upgraded lighting is something you should consider when you get a motorcycle, because it does make a huge difference, front and rear of the bike. Okay, so lighting is super important here, and the only reason I'm really showing you this is because it kind of led up to what you're about to see. So now we get up to this point here, and you can see this car is going really slow. So there's that balance between going way too fast, drivers going way too slow. We deal with this every single day. We know what the deal is, right? So anyways, I pass them, and then once I get to this point here, this is the green light we're about to have the encounter with, if you will. Once I get about here, I'm starting to use caution. At every intersection, I'm using caution. I'm looking for people making left-hand turns, maybe making, merging, making a right-hand turn, whatever the case may be. I'm always cautious here. But at this point, I'm like, they see me, right? I mean, they have to see me. And then here, oh yeah, they see me. Now you'll see I do buffer my speed just a little bit. So if we play this back just a little bit, right? So you seen I was going 49 miles an hour. By the time we get up here, and I do this at every intersection, I just cut off about 5 miles per hour. Because I know how people are, man. You have to expect that they're going to pull out in front of you. But at this point, I'm like, yeah, they still see me. Now you got to remember, the GoPro makes everything look way farther than what it is. And then, of course, this happens, right? And the first thing I do here, and I admittedly had not been practicing my emergency braking, hadn't done it in some time. So the first thing I do, watch my right hand. I just grabbed that thing. Just grabbed it. And about right here, the ABS had already kicked in, because I heard it like chirp, like it grabbed. Boom. Grab there. You can see the bike kind of go back and forth. I do a little bit of a maneuver, and then once I realize I'm not going to hit them, thank goodness, obviously I had let up on the brake at this point. Watch my hand again. Right? So I had buffered enough speed. Right? Here's where I pull it. And then at that point, right about here, is where I actually let off the brake, get on the throttle, and finish my halfway maneuvering thing right there. And then the rain just picks back up. So this is a combination of a few things. The weather, yes. I think the lights on this bike are decent. I think if I would have had passing lamps on these, you can get the OE, you can get custom dynamics, whatever. I'm sure I would have had a better possibility of them actually seeing me, because now I'm a small little object. I'm going 45 miles an hour. And if I can add some lights or add some way to actually be seen here, maybe even a jacket. I mean, I didn't have a jacket on, a bright yellow jacket. I didn't have a bright white helmet on. So something in apparel, lighting, things like that, we may have avoided this altogether. Is that driver in the right? No. Can we count on drivers to be in the right? No. If this driver were to get into a wreck with us, then to them it's an insurance claim. To us, it can be a lot worse. So although that driver is wrong, dead wrong, there's things I could have done here to avoided this situation altogether. A little bit of a rush, a little bit of weather situation here, maybe not wearing the right apparel. Wish I had some better lighting up front, or some more lighting up front, and maybe anticipated what was going to happen here a little better. Who knows? So yes, they were wrong, but it's on us, because it's more than just an insurance claim to us, to motorcycle riders, right? So we always have to be accountable and anticipate what people are going to do here. And there's some things that I could have fixed for sure, or changed to avoid this. So I'd love to hear what your thoughts are down below, man. Let me know any, close encounters that you've had, and what situation or what could have caused those situations to turn out better. or maybe you had a really awesome situation that happened to you that you were like really proud of yourself for the way that you handled it. And one thing I'll say as well is, and this is on me, is practicing emergency braking and practicing my swerving, dude. I had stopped doing that. I hadn't done that in probably 3 months up to this point. So it's a perishable skill, and it takes a little bit more practice for us to enjoy what we do and to do it safely. But man, I don't have to tell y'all, it's totally worth it. There you go, man. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. Again, subscribe, hit me up on Patreon, join me on Patreon if you want to support what I do here. Thank you guys. See you in the next one. And as always, hold the rubber side down, which I did here. Thank God for ABS, though. See you later.
Lamps on there, so. And the ABS works, by the way. Thank you, God, for ABS.